Okay, I had an event last night that prompted this video. I was trying out a different torch tip with another $2 torch I got, and I made a high flow tip, and I turned the pump down, or I turned down the power level too low, and I got a flashback for the first time in this system. I don't have a lot of bronze wool in here. I got about that much in there. Just this little silver cap piece basically is full, and all this is a big huge void. Same thing in here. So there's a pretty big amount of hydrogen inside of this. Well, anyway, this is the first flashback I've ever had in this system. I'm going to show you how big this gas washer is. I also have a secondary bubbler which is clamped on by this clamp you see here. It's connected to this hose, but this is pretty much just to wash the gas. And luckily it's as big as it is because this entire column of gas detonated. And the sound that it made is kind of indescribable. It was an extremely high magnitude, high brisance explosion, but it was quiet. But the magnitude of that quiet shock penetrated my body. I could feel it. It was a pretty amazing thing, actually. I do have a recording of what it sounds like, an internal hydrogen detonation. It's on one of my videos. I believe it's on 100 amp cell or something like that. But anyway, luckily this did not blow up. I had two things going for me. One of the things was when it went off, the torch was open. So we had a loss of pressure here. And also, because there were so many bubbles in this tube, this large column of bubbles gave us kind of an air cushion shock absorber for the detonation, which definitely played in my favor. But despite all of that, I don't know if you can see it or not, but this little piece here that I had was kind of a vapor lock, just for splash up and stuff that I had put on. And I was hoping that little brass piece in there would also act as a flashback arrestor. So I shoved some bronze wool down in there too and all that, and it did not work. In fact, the power of the detonation was strong enough to bust that thick ring of plastic. So it was a fairly impressive little detonation. I'm surprised it wasn't louder, seeing as how this was actually breached or compromised. And another odd thing that I noticed was that little bronze material. Me and Ligon, y'all, discussed this. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it or not. The marine electrician. We were talking about this substance's use of a possible flashback arrestor, and so far this little one is not a very good one to use. I don't know if you can see the discoloration where the hydrogen jet formed. Luckily it burned it all out of there. But there are two little really dark marks on this. You can see one just in there and on the very top, where obviously a hydrogen jet had formed on there. And I'm just pretty impressed. I don't know if you can see that plastic ring in there or not. That's a fairly thick piece of plastic. This plastic ain't no joke. I mean, this is some pretty strong stuff. It was just a high brisance shock wave. I mean, you could feel it. It was really weird. I just wanted to post that so to kind of broaden everybody's understanding of what type of hydrogen detonation can be withstood by what, I guess. But anyway, I was at about 1 pound of pressure when that happened, according to the gauge. So I don't know how thick this is. This is an extremely thin plastic. It's very hard, very brittle plastic. Luckily the air bubble, I think the air bubble saved me on this right here. First off, I tried a battery using this little mechanical interrupter here. I don't know if you can see it, but I have just a little cam action with some contacts. And I was using that to try and run a transformer on just the 9 volts from this battery. I'm trying to build that fish shocker we were talking about a while back. And this is what I tried initially. I don't know how well you can see this, but I don't have any DC hookup to this. And what I did is I have a small mott right here. I have the secondary wound as in another step up transformer as a primary. It's a pretty crappy loop. I don't know if that's good for low amperage coiling or not. Probably needs to be tighter. But I was just kind of doing like a little miniature mock-up Tesla type setup. And it doesn't work basically off the battery. And I also hooked it up to this thing. It has a feature where I can unplug this right here and plug anything I want in there and use it as a power controller. And I turned it all the way up and it hummed like crazy, but it didn't do anything. So what I'm going to do next, I guess, is just try and get an arc out of just this part of it and see what that does. And by the way, I give a lot of you guys your props, man. You're some brave sons of bitches. I went to turn this thing on and found myself hesitating. I'm scared of the son of a bitch. So, for all you guys out there making these crazy electric videos and all that, man, you don't notice until you go try doing it yourself just how brave some of you guys are messing with this stuff. Okay, so that's pretty cool. It might work as a fish shocker if I hook this up to an inverter and a battery on a boat. I got about a millimeter gap there. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, I'm going to do a heat test. I hope the electromagnetic pulse isn't endangering my computer. That's another thing I wanted to ask you, bro. Let me know if I'm doing something really ignorant here. Besides the fact that I'm doing something really stupid. Okay, I'm at 104 degrees on my primary. Wow, the secondary is 178 degrees. Definitely going to want to put a cooler on this thing. It's off. I should be able to touch it. Yeah, she's hot. I'm going to mount that baby on there somehow. Maybe another fan. Yeah, my secondary is extremely hot to the point to where I think I want to stop the test now. I'm going to do one more little shock show. I was only at about a millimeter gap there. It would only self-initiate a millimeter. Okay. Stupidity, take two. Whoa. That was a different type of spark. I think the being farther away. These things are good to 80 Celsius. Went about 80, 90 Celsius there. I better back off. Does anybody know what the temperature rating on the dielectric for my winding is? I'm at 89 Celsius. I'm going to stop this here. I don't want to ruin this thing. It's I don't want to blow up my speed power controller either. I'm going to get its own power controller for it. But there it is. I'm going to remove this other transformer because it's worthless. If you guys could possibly tell me why I wasn't able to get this thing to work. It's a little Jacob's ladder that I understand Jacob's ladder take a lot of current. A lot of voltage, I mean. Basically, I was just sparking this lead off my capacitor side there. This is just an AC unit. I'm going to go ahead and ditch this thing, I guess, and put some cooling stuff on there. And I'm going to hook this up to an inverter, like a 400 watt inverter, and get some battery clamps for it, and then try to make a fish shocker out of it. And hey, by the way, your boat idea of using the boat as one of the terminals is the way they do it on the internet. I got on the internet and looked up fish shocker, so that was a good idea. I'm definitely going to take your advice on that one, seeing as how a lot of other people